have an amazing show coming up for y'all today. It's going to be so nice. Let's get started. As always, give thanks and blessings. Welcome to another IG Live with Questions With. I'm your host, Marlon Taylor-Wiles, and today we have an amazing performer, singer, songwriter, actor, dancer, star on Broadway, my good friend, Lawrence Alexander. But first, I want to give a couple quick shout outs. On Saturday at 7:30, our previous guest and good friend Malik Washington is teaching an online dance class. So hit him up for that, for the Zoom link. So thank you, Malik. On his Instagram is at Malik, MALEEK _Washington, like Denzel, Washington, Malik Washington, teaching an amazing dance class on Saturday at 7:30. Also on Saturday at 9:30 in the morning, if you want a tropical boogie, our good friend Chris Fussner also goes by DJ Blockchain Algorithms, is playing some music at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. So you got Malik at 7:30 for a dance class, 7:30 p.m. So DM him for the Zoom link. And then 9:30 a.m. DJ Blockchain Algorithms, DJ _Blockchain Algorithms is playing some tropical tunes based out of Singapore. So that's going to be hopping, that's going to be jamming. And also, I cannot stress enough, ClassCentral.com is offering free classes, free classes in web design, business, marketing, arts, design. These are free classes. The future is unknown. So here's an opportunity for everyone to get some free knowledge and start to think about some other things, other creative things that you would like to do. Boom. All right, got the quick shout outs out the way. So, our good friend today is Lawrence Alexander, and his credits includes being a company member at Hubbard Street in Chicago, an amazing dance company. He's performed in the Broadway shows Follies. He's been in Anything Goes, and currently he's in the Disney's The Lion King on Broadway. Also, his debut EP, 3 is the Golden Ratio, was released to critical acclaim. So please go download that. That is 3 is the Golden Ratio. So without further ado, I want to welcome dancer, singer, songwriter, and Broadway performer, Lawrence Alexander.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm keeping my spirits up. I'm keeping my spirits up for sure.
I hear that.
Woo! Yeah,
Dude,
I've just been. Oh my goodness. I'm doing the same thing everybody else is. Staying inside, trying to stay safe. Also just like trying to keep my mind like in a positive place. Been like watching tons of like positive things, praying, also writing a little bit, creating,
Nice.
and doing stuff like this, trying to reach out, trying to grow my social media a little more. I am just waiting now. Like I'm waiting to see what's gonna happen. Broadway is closed right now. We just got a notice 2 days ago that it'll probably close until like September.
Are you
So
really?
yes. So shout out to all the Broadway performers out there, the actors, the stagehands, the costume people. Much love to you guys. You're in our thoughts. I'm myself as well. Like we're just kind of like up in the air right now, and we don't really know what's gonna go down. But on the same token, I'm just trying to stay, energized and
Yeah.
invigorated and inspired and stuff like that. Watching stuff. I live alone, so it's like all these sort of things like to reach out virtually are really really good for me and have been fun.
Yeah.
And a good way to stay in touch. But look at you, got your own show, doing your stuff. I see you doing your stuff with fashion.
Man, I'm just here. I'm just here being a servant to the universe and shedding some light
Yes.
on my amazing friends and the people that I've been able to call colleagues and peers of mine.
That is so beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful what you're doing.
These beautiful trajectories of your careers. Like, it's crazy to we went to college together. We went to college with Malik. and everyone is like having these amazing careers. You finally see all this hard work come into fruition.
I know, everybody.
And I think it's important for us to at least stop and pat each other on the back and be like, yo,
Yeah.
bro, I see what you're doing. Let me big you up. Like, this is amazing. And like, it's important.
Well, I appreciate it so much.
Oh,
Thank you for letting me come on your platform and do this.
It's just important to show like other artists, younger artists, what it's like to be an industry vet in a sense. Because we've been doing this for some time now.
We've been doing it for some time now, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've put in the work, and now you're seeing all the fruits of your labor come to life. So
definitely.
I want to just hop right in. So I found this video, and I thought to myself, if you can perform on this stage, you can perform on any stage in the world, right?
Oh God, what stage is this?
I'm gonna flip the camera, and we're gonna get into it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay, let's get the volume up.
Larry K. Trees.
Trees,
Oh,
Larry
we
K.
gotta
Trees.
discuss this. We gotta discuss this.
Yes, I know we have to.
Oh my goodness. Steve Harvey is so amazing. Oh my goodness.
Well, all right. That's good. What you gonna do for us, Larry?
I'm gonna sing the greatest love of all.
Greatest love of all. Y'all show your love for Larry K. Price. Go ahead, Larry.
Look how tall I was still, even there. That vest, my mother got that vest for me. Shout out Pamela Z. Scott. I was so nervous here. Oh my goodie.
All right, we gotta talk about it.
Yes, we have to talk about
it. We gotta talk about it.
So first of all, let me tell you, I wasn't even supposed to sing Greatest Love of All. That's the funny part. When I got to New York, first of all, when I was young, I used to sing and all this stuff. My mother was my manager. I had another manager as well. And I would sing. I did a lot of competitions as a kid, singing and dancing in Kansas City. And so when I got the Apollo, I was like, wow. And I don't even know if they still do Apollo Kids. I haven't watched it in a while, but
Yeah.
I get to New York. I had actually gotten bronchitis. So I had to take a steroid. Like right before I went, I had got bronchitis. So I was really nervous. And when I get there, the producer, I think her name was Danielle. I forget her name. But she was like, you can't sing. The song that I always sing as a child was Hero. I had a really high voice as a child. I was supposed to sing Hero, and so that was like my go-to song. And when I got there, they said you can't sing Hero. You have because Mariah Carey won't give you the rights. Mariah, why won't you give me those rights, girl? Like, what's going on?
Come on.
But it turned out okay. I ended up singing it and meeting with the band, and I was so nervous. As well as there, you see, they call me Larry Trice. That's my birth name. Larry Trice is, and I'd done a couple competitions where they were saying. They would always call me Larry Treese instead of Trice. So it was always, and you know how you call me Trice. Like, what up, Trice? I was like, I want to go call me Trice, or he's going to call me my stage name. But anyways, yeah, my birth name is Larry Trice, but I go by Lawrence Alexander now, partly because of that reason, they always called me Treese, and people would get it wrong a lot. And then also, too, when I was in college, Yasuko, you know, she gave me Lawrence. She changed her name. She started calling me Lawrence Trice. So in college, I was Lawrence Trice. That's what she would put in the programs. And then when I left and went to New York, I'd always loved the name Alexander. My mother's maiden name is Alexander. Her parents, who passed when she was very young, when she was about 8 years old, her parents, it was kind of a Lawrence Alexander. I've always loved that name. And when she got married, her name changed to Scott. But it was sort of a tribute to them and their legacy. I never met them, my grandparents, but my mother's parents. And so I just went by Lawrence Alexander, and that's how Lawrence Alexander came, and it just stuck. And I feel like a Lawrence Alexander. I feel like a Larry Trice. I feel like both. But I definitely do feel like a Lawrence. You know, what up, Winston? That's my boy from my hometown.
Yeah.
Shout out, Larry. But yeah, that's the whole story about my name. I get a lot of my friends are like Lawrence, and it's funny. Like when I changed it, people were like Lawrence Alexander. Hey, his name Larry Trice. The people who know you, and I never get upset when people call me. People who knew me, I never get upset when they call me Larry, because you knew me as a child. Obviously, I'm not gonna say, "Don't call me Larry." Like, I'm not like that. You knew me like that, I wouldn't say that. But yeah, I changed it to Lawrence Alexander, and it's just kind of stick. It's just kind of stick, you know. So
yeah. So Larry, how'd you get into this game? How'd you start dancing? How'd you start singing at such a young age? Because I know you started dancing at the age of 9. Was that like your parents pushing you into dance or trying to get you to be creative, or you just had like this kind of inner sensation of saying, I want to be a performer and this is what I want to do?
You know, my mother, I'm a mama's boy. Shout out to my mom, Pamela Scott. She's probably watching. She was very big on, I was always under her. So she used to love watching MGM musicals, like anything with Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, Easter Parade, and The Wedding, all these big old time musicals, MGM stuff. And I was always watching them with her. And I feel like that really sunk into my subconscious. Like I just love performing, tapping, and dancing. Even before I started taking dance class, I would go into my restroom with the linoleum floor and my dress shoes, and I would like tap on them. I didn't even know what was going on. But how I got into dance is that my sister actually was a dancer first. And you know, back then, a lot of boys, well, at least in my neighborhood, black boys weren't jumping in dance class. People weren't putting their kids in dance class, and it wasn't anything like, it was just parents. It was for the girls, you know. And so she was a dancer, but I always wanted to. I would go to the studios with her, and like I would always, every time my mom would go pick her up, I would be like, "Oh, I want to go. Can I go?" And like, hey mama, I would like go to the studio with her, and I was such a ham, like making the people laugh in the lobby and dancing. And the studio owner saw me, and she begged my mom. She was like, "You have to put them in dance too." And so that's how I started to dance. That's how I got, the studio owner gave me a full ride, and she was like, "This kid is like really gonna do it." And at my studio, Monica School of Dance, shout out to Monica Renwick and everybody there. Monica Renwick is this blonde bombshell. She was a prodigy, who was a prodigy at the Starlight Theater at my hometown. And she was a baby ballerina, but she grew up doing everything. She did David Copperfield, and she was even, she was the Tits and A girl from Chicago. She did a lot of stuff. And she was just amazing. I've never seen anybody move like Monica Renwick, even to this day, even her choreography. I've never seen anybody choreograph a tap routine like that. And I've worked with I've worked with some great people, but she just has this innate movement, and I picked that up from her. She's like my second mom. So I was very lucky in the sense that I was just always around people who would push me. I mean, here I am, this little black child in the center of all these white girls, not white girls, but it was a suburban studio, and she showed me so much love. She gave me a full ride. She paid for all of my costumes. I feel like I was the only student that she did that with. You know, she really helped my mom out. And my mom, I obviously took care of my sister stuff, but she really, really invested in me because she saw so much. Even before I was like 10, she was like, this kid is going to be something. She saw that in me before even I saw it or anybody saw it. So I really, really love Monica for that. She gave me this gift of performance. And she would always say, like, "Oh, look at Lawrence, when he smiles, he brightens up the room. So like, you know, that's what you want to bring." And she just gave me that extra edge, which was good because in my life before then, I never really had anybody telling me those things. I was a sort of a soft child, or, you know, I was very quiet. And so she gave me a lot of confidence in myself. And I've still carried that. That was a long response.
You said earlier, no, it's great. You said earlier, you know, the complexities of being a black male dancer. and getting
Mm-hmm.
into dance. Did you find that there was any challenges that you faced by just navigating the dance community while growing up in your neighborhood by being Black and then telling your friends, oh, I'm a dancer or I'm a singer? Did you have any adversities or challenges when you had to do things like that? Or was it kind of just easy for you to kind of like sail through?
Well, you know, from the jump, I feel like because I was a soft child and very soft and very much like my mom, I've always been Lawrence. I've always been myself. People say, did you come out? Or, you know, whatever you want to call it. I never really came out. I've just always been this way. I've always just been Lawrence or been Larry. And everyone always noticed. Even and I was smart enough to know other people who noticed, grown-ups, you know, all these things. So it was definitely always there. And I knew that I was different. And that's a lot on a child already, you know what I'm saying, to be different. But then, like I said, my father really didn't want me to dance. He said it was fritiere. So that was the adversity right there. That's
Right.
why I always say, you know, dance really chose me. It was something that chose me. It wasn't like, we're going to give him this. I wasn't even supposed to do it. From the gate, I wasn't supposed to do it. And it was just my, you know, coming in like, when I got to the dance studio, I knew that was my spirit. I was like, oh, like I couldn't help it. And not that I was a ham, but I just couldn't help wanting to dance and be in that space. So on that notion, even now, it's a lot better with kids. I feel like, and that's our generation, yours and mine, who did that. We
Right.
let them know that you can still be a dancer. It doesn't mean that you're gay. It doesn't mean that you're
Right.
bi. It doesn't mean that you're anything. It just means that you love dance. I feel like it's a lot better now because it took a long time to get to that. It's still sometimes you'll see little comments online or stuff, people saying, oh, dance isn't for boys. And it's just like, it's dance.
It's dance.
First of all, like girls who love boys who can dance, you know, that they're attracted to that. I know I've always have been. But no, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but like I said, that's why I knew that it was something that was I was supposed to do. God literally directed me there. My spirit, and it just attached itself, and it was just something that happened, and nobody could deny it. Once I was there, nobody could deny it. It was like, oh, he's gonna do it. And as soon as I did that, boom, 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 doors open. I became. Dance made me myself. Right. I woke up. I felt like it was a second birth. Like it was just who I was. You know, it was a second birth. I became who I was. So in that sense, it really, really woke me up to who I am, my personality.
And you're a pretty tall. You're a pretty tall guy. What are you? 6'5", 6'4"?
I'm 6'4" and a half, 6'3" on my resume. But no, I'm 6'4" and a half, 6'5". You know, when I was younger, I was put in all of the older classes with the older girls, even at 9. Everybody kept asking my mom, has he ever trained? Has he ever done this? I had a very natural facility. I had really arched feet. My mother has really arched feet. I was able to stretch. It was natural. Like I didn't have to make it happen. I had really, you know, I was very long. It just came to me. So I would always like pray to God, like I want to partner the girls. Why am I the shortest? But they were like teenagers and I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it
crazy.
made sense. And I would pray. And then one day, you know, I slept, and sophomore year I came back. Everyone's like, dang, you're tall. Like you're really tall, you know? I have that body structure, but literally I remember just always wanting to be tall because I was always going up against teenagers, but I was really 9. But I feel like, not to say that's why it happened. I just feel like everyone in my family is tall. I have on my father's side, my biological father, all of his brothers are tall. My mother's brothers are tall. And I feel like I really got it. And even I have a cousin named Michi. Shout out to Michi. He's even taller than me. When he was like 14, he was like 6'6". So I feel like we have that gene, but it's just always been like, I've always just been so big and so, you know, just so tall. And it took me a long time to really figure out my center, my body. Yeah, it took me so long. For years, I was like an antelope, like a baby doe. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a center. I remember when I was at Ailey, they got on me a lot for that. And I was just long and tall, you know, and he always said he would become who he was supposed to be when he started dancing. Oh, she's so cute.
Did you find that there was any challenges that you faced by being in dance companies or being you know, always the tallest person?
I definitely feel like that it's like a sort of what Tommy Tune said, that it's a blessing and a curse. There are things that I get to do that people would choose me for because I am tall. I'll get an automatic feature. And the fact that I have, you know, my personality or je ne sais quoi, like, it's easy for me to be featured. But I really feel like too that it definitely came a point where I was sticking out when I was at Hubbard. I feel like I never looked at it I couldn't look at it as a bad thing because I knew what I wanted to do and I knew where I wanted to go. So I just would say, just keep going no matter what they say. I would have teachers say, he's so tall. I remember Denise Jefferson from the Ailey School. She was like, Larry, but he's so tall. And it was just, it was a big insecurity of mine because I had to literally find my frame. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Randy Castillo, one of my best friends. I know this beard child. I just bought a little buzz cut and I'm gonna shave it soon. Forgive me. I'm looking like, y'all know I usually have my hair done, all that, but no, I definitely did feel that. There were things that happened in my life where I would stick out. I just would stick out. I remember rehearsals at Hubbard and Petite Mort and all these ballets, and they would say he's beautiful, but he's sticking out. Those ensemble pieces. But you know, on the flip side of that, it taught me how to dance in an ensemble.
Yeah.
There are some people who are shorter than me, and I'm like, girl, you ain't got no special awareness. Remember, we were at Boco when Boco didn't have those studios.
That's right.
You got Suco. See what I'm saying? Right. So Boco also taught me how to dance and be spatial aware. All these things that were like, that people would thought, oh, it was a bad thing. They literally molded me. Just being in that space, it molded me. I learned how to move quick. I learned how to, you know what I'm saying? I learned how to control all of that. And it really, in the end, it really worked for my benefit, I feel. There are things, because I am a tall dancer, like I said again, that I get to experience that nobody gets to experience. Right. I've had a career that has been designed for me.
Right. You know, so for everybody out there, when Larry references Boco, he's talking about the
Boston Conservatory.
We went to university. We went to university together, conservatory. Now,
before Boco was the fab place it is now with this big theater. I'm like, ooh, if I wasn't here, honey, we would be doing Tombe.
When I first got to the conservatory, I was a freshman.
Ooh!
I was a junior when I was a freshman.
I was a junior.
Mm-hmm. When you're a freshman. Now you're already 6'5", 6'4".
I know, and the studios were so small.
When I came to school, this was the poster for the school at the time, for the dance department. And you guys can't see it. Hold on.
You can't feel it. It can't fit.
We got it, but hold on. Oh, cancel. No, hold on. I have to find this image for everybody to see, because you walk into school as a freshman and you see this as a poster, and you're like, oh yeah, like this dude goes to this school. It was
crazy.
This photo is absolutely insane. I'm gonna find it right now.
OMG! I have a story about that photo too. I have to tell you about that photo.
Let's find this photo, because this image is absolutely insane of Larry. Excuse me, Trice. Excuse me, Lawrence Alexander.
No, I don't mind you calling me that, because you know me as that. Come on, the kids are here. Hi y'all. How y'all doing?
Hold on. Let me show everybody.
Y'all ready to have some fun, honey?
Right. Here we go. Look at this. This is what I walk into school.
Have you ever seen arms that long before?
As a freshman.
This the longest.
And so I was slightly intimidated, but I absolutely admired you, because I was like, I get to dance next to this. I get to dance next to this long, amazing.
Hi, Michael.
Dancer.
How you doing, boo? Let me tell you about this photo. I'm gonna tell you the story behind this photo. So first of all, okay, so you came in as a junior, right?
I came as a freshman. You were a junior.
You came in as a freshman. I was a junior.
Yeah.
So when we had that photo shoot, it was my sophomore year, and my freshman year going to Boco, I was, hey, Bali, how y'all doing? Oh, the kids are coming out. My freshman year at Boco, it was very strange for me, because I didn't really know if I was going to stay. It was a lot of stuff going on with that. And I even auditioned for Hubbard Street 2, back when I used to have the Hubbard Street 2 audition in New York. I went there. So anyways, I was gonna leave, but then I came back and Yasuka was like, "Oh, we figured it out," because it was so expensive. You know how expensive Boko is. And she was like, "We're gonna fix it for you." And I was still having stuff. I didn't know if it was the right place for me. You know, Louis Fortin, our favorite teacher, he would always pick on me and push me. He was like, "You have all of this, and you're lazy, and you're doing this." And I would be like, "Who is this? Who is this guy? I come from the Ailey School. Who is he talking?" And he would get me and get me and get me. So I really didn't know if I was gonna fit there. They asked me to do this photo shoot my sophomore year. The actual picture, people think that picture is
Split.
is a split, but it's actually a sauté jump. And so it's funny because you know those studios were so small. It's not a grand jeté. It's actually a plié assemblé. And I didn't know if they were going to use it. Yasuka was like, "I don't know what picture we're going to use yet, blah, 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 blah." So the next year I come back, I come in and I get all these emails from everywhere. And they're like, "Oh, are you the boy on the poster?" That next year, my sophomore year, they're like, "Are you the boy on the poster? This is a gorgeous picture." Everyone's hitting me up from New York, everyone. Your picture is everywhere. So then I come back my junior year and I see it and it's everywhere. And I'm just like, wow. And I really feel like that picture is the reason why it literally like ignited my career. Even like 7 years after I left Boko, they were still using it, and everyone knew about it. I had people come up to me, they say, "Oh, I saw this poster of you. You made me want to dance." It was a really great blessing, and I just want to say thank you to Yasuko for that, for letting that happen. It was really, really sweet.
Yeah, that was an
So that's
amazing.
my story about that picture.
Very intimidating to come and see that as a freshman walking into the doors, and you're like, "Oh snap! Like, who is this?"
Then you come in with your double tours and ballet technique, and I'm like, "Look at this boy Marlon."
You're like, "Oh, that's that dude." So, all right, so after you graduated conservatory, you went where? Did you go to Hubbard Street, or was there like a period where you were doing freelance, or you went straight into company life directly after graduating school?
I went straight into company life. Literally, I graduated, and the next day I flew to Chicago. So I told you about the whole thing. The next day I flew to Chicago when I was in company class on Monday. It was crazy. And the funny thing about that is okay, so I have to tell this story too. So like I said, my sophomore year, I went to go audition for Hubbard Street too. Julia Nakagawa, the amazing director, shout out to Julia Nakagawa. She offered me a contract to come to Hubbard too that sophomore year. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. So I was going to leave Boko. And then I come back and I tell Yasuko, I'm like, "Yasuko, they offered me a contract for Hubbard too." She was like, "You should at least finish and get your degree." And I was like, I'm going to need more money. So then the school gave me more money and I paid for everything. And I was like, okay, I'll finish. And so I told Julie Nakagawa, "Please remember me when I graduate. I'm obsessed with the company. I would love to join it." So then my senior year comes around and Julie calls me and she goes, "Hi, Lawrence, we have a position coming up. I want you to know we have an audition. We're going to be in New York. Can you make it?" And it was funny because I actually was going to go to Europe and audition. I had an audition for Nacho Company scheduled for Indie T1. All these auditions, I was going to go tour Europe to audition. And I ended up missing my plane and I was in tears because I didn't call her back. I was in tears. I was in the dormitory like, this is my dream. The ticket was so much. It was horrible. So then after that, Julie calls me back and she's like, "Hey, we still want to know if you're interested." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not." I missed that audition. So I was like, "Is there any way you can see me for the first company audition for Hubbard?" And she goes, "No, we're not going to be able to see you. We're not going to be in town." I was okay. Well, I'm going to fly in for that audition. So can I get it? I never intended on even getting into Hubbard 1. I just was like, if I'm already there, can you see me? And I ended up going and I got Hubbard 1. Jim was like, "Oh, I really like you." So they were going back and forth. It was such a strange time with them saying, "Are we going to make him go through Hubbard 2 or are we gonna put him in Hubbard 1? And Jim was like, "What do you think we should do?" And I was like, "Well, if you're going to give me Hubbard 1, I want to be in Hubbard 1. At that point, I felt like I could leverage. And I was like, "I want to be in Hubbard 1. And I know it was a very strange time. People were very upset because I was an outsider coming in. It was so many beautiful dancers in Hubbard too. And you know how dance companies are very they like to be very political. And I understand that. But child, when you have a grace over you, you can do whatever you want to do. I will always tell anybody, when you have the talent, you can make demands. Don't sell yourself short.
Cool.
And that's what a lot of people do. And I've never done that. Don't ever sell yourself short. Be like, this is this. And it happened. So that was the whole thing with that, you know, at Hubbard. And I ended up joining it as Hubbard went as an apprentice. But it was literally happened. Like I graduated and then the next day I flew out. And then that Tuesday I was in class. And it was very intimidating. For the first month, I was very scared. There was a part of me that, you know, now that I look back, maybe I should have done it because I was a senior in college and I had all this, you know, at Boco, they gave me so much love. And then to go into a company and you got to build it back up again. That was definitely a mental thing for me. And I was scared. I'm not going to say that it was easy. I was very scared the first, my couple months at Hubbard. It was some beautiful dancers that I had never seen from Hubbard, coming from Geneva and coming from all these companies, all these divas who had been heydays in their day, you know, it was, and then of course, like Cheryl Mann and Jamie Meek and all these phenomenal dancers, the way they move, it just really like changed my mind about dance in a way that I'll never forget. Even when I was at Ailey, it flipped it again to a point where dance wasn't just about emoting or being like fierce. It was about speaking with your body. And I really feel like that whole era is the era that birthed this new movement of dance that's about like all on the ground and all that. That was that whole era. Right. You know, Marguerite Donlin, Strokes to the Tails, that was a famous ballet that I did there. The only original ballet that I ever done in my career as a dancer. She loved me. She was like just so beautiful and she choreographed it on me. And I became a star, not a star at Hubbard, I hate to say a star, but she really, when she came and she saw my special thing, she molded that. And
so
I was, yeah.
Let's watch a little clip of you in your concert days.
Let's watch a little clip of me and my concert days. Lord.
Concert dance days.
Big old black boy in this company. This is Ganawa. One of my favorite solos to do by Nacho Duarto. I love this ballet. It's one of my favorites. You
know, you were saying that when you first got to Hubbard Street in Chicago, the professional dance company, that you felt intimidated. And, you know, I guess you were a big fish in a little pond at the conservatory.
At Boca.
Company, you have dancers from all around the globe.
Everywhere.
At the top, at the creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme, from ballet companies, everything.
Modern companies, everything is there. Now, how did you find the strength or the confidence to eventually get over being so intimidated by all the dancers? Did that happen as you started to become more comfortable within your own movement and say, oh, I can handle my own with these other dancers? Or like what happened in that 2 to 3 months that helped you find your confidence and being able to hold your own in that kind of atmosphere?
I really feel like it was the stage. The stage really will always bring me back to myself because I know who I am as a performer. But it definitely took a long time. And I don't know if I ever found my center at Hubbard. I knew that when I joined Hubbard, something in me knew that I wouldn't be there long. As a matter of fact, when I first joined, Jim Vincent told me, he was like, you know, I want you here for the long run. I want you here for a while. And I was thinking in my head, because I knew also too that I had a love for theater and the Broadway stage. I was thinking in my head, child, I'm not gonna be here that long. I'm not gonna be here that long. I don't want to. For one thing, you know, I love the company. I love everybody there. But it's hard to be in a concert dance company these days. I don't know how it is now. You know, financially it was hard. I'm not one of those artists who is all about the money. I'm about art. I'm about something that makes me happy. I am about, am I content? Am I happy? Right. Is my spirit happy? And that was a battle for me. That was definitely a battle to keep my sanity. There's a certain sort of culture in concert dance where everybody is very serious and everybody's separate. I don't know if it's the same, and it's different with everybody. But and I'm not like that. I want to talk, and I want to, I want to be, let's go. So it definitely got like that for me, and I will definitely say that I have to share something that I never share with anybody, and that is I got terminated at Hubbard Street at one point. And the thing that happened is I went to Jim Vincent at one point. This is after I was doing like, what's it called? Strokes to the Tails, and they were putting me on the building. I had this huge picture. I had this huge poster. I was feeling my life. It was really starting to get good, and I was wondering when they were going to. They had promoted one of my dear friends named Sarah Fuller, who's one of my good friends. We were tour partners on tour, and she got promoted. And so I was thinking, here I am doing all these principal things. From the jump, when I first joined the company, my first number I learned, I had a principal part. I was a feature because I'm so big, you know what I'm saying? I know how to, and so I was gonna kind of give them a little while, but I'm gonna tell them. So I went to Jim and I told him, I was like, I feel like I wanna know, am I going to be getting a raise? Am I going to get promoted from apprentice? When am I going to get promoted from apprentice to full company member? And he was very taken back. I've always had this inner confidence. I don't know if it's from my mom. I don't know if it's from God, but I've always had this inner thing where it's been like, I know my worth. I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. I know exactly what I should be getting. I know that. And some people, they don't like that. People are afraid of your freedom. If you have this freedom, the people are going to be afraid of that. You have to make sure that and you can't lose that because that's a part of who you are. But on the flip side of that, I went and told him this, and he actually told me, he was like, I'm very actually surprised and actually very impressed that you have so much confidence in yourself. He was like, when I was your age, I didn't know how good I was, and I'm actually impressed by that. So then the season goes on, and it's coming to the fall season, coming to the end of the spring season. And after that spring season, Jim and them came into me, and the company director, Gail, they came to me and said that I was not going to be coming back in the new year. So then we still had a whole European tour to go along. So next thing you know, we're on tour. They said I would at least get to do that tour. I knew that I was already in my head planning that it was already over for me at Hubbard. And that feeling when you already know your fate, so then you let go. After they told me I was going to be, fired or let go, I was like, oh, well then I can do what I want now. And I wasn't scared anymore. And I tell this story because I want to let people know that don't ever be scared of your light, your power as a dancer. Always bring it in. I was timid. Like I said, I was timid. I was scared. I was like, am I enough? And then all of a sudden, when they told me I was going to be fired, I started dancing. I started taking class. I let go of that. I let go of that scaredness, and I started bringing my light in. And so when we got to Niche, we were in Amsterdam, and the director of the second company of NDT2 came to the show, and him and Jim are yes, and yes, and he loved me, and Jim saw that, my boss. And so afterwards, Jim comes to me after that show, and he was like, I've always thought you were a beautiful dancer. I still do. I want you here. He was like, do you think that you will, would you like to stay on for the come back for the rest of the year? He was like, if you come back, I will make you a full company member. And he made me a full company member. After he fired me, he came back and made me a full company member because I remembered who I was. Do you see what I'm saying about inner power? And that's why I sent you that picture of them saying in the Sun Times, Lawrence Alexander is a full company member now. So then that happened, and I get injured. I got injured in Galway, and that totally, it was a whole dramatic thing. It was in the Galway, Ireland newspaper that I got injured. They said the big black dancer, beautiful muscular black dancer, and I put myself on stage, and I feel like that was sort of the end there. And I also knew that my heart wasn't in Hubbard anymore. I knew then that I still wasn't happy. I wasn't happy on the road. I just knew that I needed to go to New York. I knew that my path was going somewhere else. And so I ended up that March or May, I go to gym and I say, I know we had discussed about me possibly staying, but I'm actually going to go ahead and just go and audition for companies. I mean, go audition for agents. I'm going to move to New York and I want to leave. And that's what ended up happening. We started just parted. And that's when I moved to New York. That's my whole Hubbard Street story.
I love it. So after your concert dance career with Hubbard Street, you decided to move to New York. And you start to audition for agents. You start to audition for shows. Now, I guess for a long time, even in college, people didn't really know that you could sing.
No.
They only thought of you as a dancer. That was your secret weapon. You had this secret weapon of, I'm actually a triple threat. Y'all just only see me as a dancer, and you were held in such a high regard as a dancer.
As a dancer. Let me tell you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you two things. First of all, I already had so many haters as a dancer because I was a dancer. And so it's somewhere in my own insecurity. I didn't tell anybody. I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody I can sing. I see how people are with my dancing. Like, it was one of those insecurities that I had to fight with. And I still, to this day, have to fight and let know. So I want to, because it's so much of that. Also, too, there was a thing about this image about how you're either a dancer or you're a singer. That was big, too, in the concert world. And they wouldn't take you seriously as a dancer the way they did for me. If they knew I could sing, they would say, oh, he's just a musical theater boy. It's so many things that we put on each other as a culture, a musical theater culture, all that. It's so many things that we put on each other. And I really just felt like I said, I'm just trying to be a dancer now. I didn't tell anybody. There were tons of times where I was like, oh, I wish I would have, been a musical theater major, but Yasuko was so like, you're a dancer, you're not gonna take musical theater classes. I felt like for so long I was living somebody else's dream. Does that make sense? I was living everybody else's. Oh, he should do this. Even Louis Fontaine was heartbroken when I told him. I said, I don't want to be a ballet dancer. I'm not a ballet dancer.
Come on, man.
I can do it. I can do it, and I can get up in a class with the girls and do whatever. But I'm not a ballet dancer. I'm a show boy. I'm a show boy with facility who can sing. You know what I'm saying? So it took me a long time to be able to really want to share my entire stuff, and I'm still working on that. I'm still working on. And now, of course, it's so hard to be a triple threat on Broadway. They either look at you as a dancer or they look at you as, a singer. Right. It's very rare that you see a triple threat anymore. You're either a character actor.
When you got to New York, right? And were you familiar with the audition process of auditioning for agents and auditioning for Broadway shows? Because when I first came to New York and I joined a dance company, I remember the first Broadway audition I went to, I had on black tights and a white t-shirt and jazz slippers. And people were like, oh, bro, like, nah.
You learn. Yeah.
I was happy that I had homies that were like, yo, Marlon, untuck your shirt, put on some sweatpants, and put your sneakers on. Yeah. Because I came in there like a ballet boy with a white t-shirt, black tights.
Exactly.
Like, yo, nah, bro.
It's a complete another culture. And I always tell my friends, I'm like, why you coming in here, you improv and you doing Forsyth? This is you in Chicago audition. You ain't supposed to be doing, don't come in here doing. I'm like, no. And you do have to, it's a learning thing. I had to learn that when I first came here. I kept saying, telling one of my other good girlfriends, Ebony Williams, and this is another thing that I want to tell you, that you need to make sure that you have people around you that are going to be honest with you. A lot of us surround, and I see this a lot. We surround ourselves with people who they'll tell us. We know they'll tell us what we want to hear. But I'm so thankful that I have friends who will be like, "Child, you're not gonna get it with that." I remember the first time I kept auditioning. I kept saying, "I'm not getting kept," and I know I'm fit. She was like, "Yeah, but look how skinny you are." She was like, "You need to get a body, so you got to go to the gym." And I love Ebony for that. She was like, "If you want to be on Broadway, you got to sell sex. You got to do more stuff." And these are just the things that you have to do if you want to do Broadway. There's always going to be a sacrifice for switching fields. It's up to you to make those sacrifices. It's a different world. It is, it's a different world. They don't, and even it's different from when I started out first auditioning, you do have to sort of know those ins and outs, not to come in tights, it's just a different world.
And how many times did you audition in order to get an agent?
I auditioned for one agency. and that was in McDonald's in Selznick. Shout out to McDonald's in Selznick. And I've been with them ever since. For about 15 years, I've been with McDonald's in Selznick. Back when Michael Moore was my agent, and he was putting me in front of the right people. He was like, "Oh, these people will love tall boys. I'm gonna put you in front of like, you know, Warrens and the Robert Longbottoms." And I've always been so blessed to have those people who knew where to put me.
Right.
And I think that's because I knew my niche, you know, like that was the first agent that I got. And then the first big gig that I got was Showboat at the Carnegie Hall. So it was one of those things where I was very, very lucky where I was put in front of the right people.
Right. Now we're both used to auditioning a lot. How do you maintain and how do you deal with the amount of rejection that comes with this business? Because not everything is happy and like, oh, I went to the audition and I got it. Because there's many times you go to many auditions, you feel extremely confident that you killed it. You're like, I murdered this audition, I killed the dance part, I killed the singing part, whatever the case may be, but then you don't get the call. How does someone like you deal with the everyday rejection of the industry?
You know, I will say this. When you first start auditioning, first of all, even if you have an agent, once you first get your agent, and this is what I would tell every new person who comes to New York and wants to audition. You have an agent. Yeah, I got an agent. I'm signed with them. Yeah, okay, but you're like one of like 25 black boys in that agent, and you're new. Yeah. So you have to. So the first mistake that people think is, oh, now that I have an agent, I don't have to audition. Honey, let me tell you, when I first got to New York and I had an agent, the first couple of gigs that I got, my agent didn't even get me. You have to continue to go to open calls. Because back then, the only way you're going to stay in the game is if they see you. You have to be hungry for it. Go to every call. And it's not about getting cut or getting kept. You know, we're all talented dancers. I can only think of a handful of auditions that I got actually cut for the dance part. But I will say that, you know, if you're out there, you have to keep your face in the pool and you have to be hungry. Don't wait for your agent to get you no job. You'll be sitting there like, oh, my agent ain't called me. I had a young friend of mine who's kind of upset with me now, telling me, oh, my agent isn't calling me, they ain't calling me, so I'm gonna leave. I said, child, you gotta be hungry. You gotta go and get your own gig. They got 16 other people that they're putting out. 4 of them are vets in the biz who all the people know. You know, so I feel like you have to really, really be hungry for it, and just put yourself in front of every person that you want to work with. And don't wait for your agent, because your agent, half the time, my agent didn't even really start really getting that grind with me until I made my own name. They would start hearing my name, oh, Lawrence, and then they would call me, oh, he got a callback. He made it to the final callback. That's when I started to get that motion of, oh, I'm the booking kid. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know, it's very similar to like, with what we're dealing with right now with social media. A lot of people want to see that you have a social media following or see that you are able to build some kind of network and rapport for yourself before they take you on as a client.
Yeah. You know, I have mixed feelings towards that. I don't know if the industry is going in that direction, it kind of makes me sad, because there's so much talent that you will have looked over. So many people who don't have a big following. And it has nothing to do with them being talented. It could be, you know, they are not photogenic, or they're not getting the right place on the algorithm, or they're not taking the right types of, or anything. They don't know how to build a social media. So I guess in the sense, like, if the industry is going to go on that route, which really means nothing, because now you can buy likes and you can buy followers. Right. So it means nothing, but it's sad that that's going to happen. And I really hope that people, and casting directors and agents and all that are attuned to that and know that there are talents that are still undiscovered. Some of the most beautiful people. I see some young dancers all the time, and I'm like, who are you with? Do you have an agent? Like, are you auditioning? You know, I see all these great dancers, and I'm like, you should be working, you know, and I just hope that it all sort of levels out. You know, I realize that we want to connect ourselves to something that's already has sort of a motor or has, you know, friction, but I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. I hope that we can be big enough to where we'll still see people for face value in the room, because that's how I got seen. You know, if you know, I understand that we want to look at people's pages and to get a better idea of them after you've seen them. sure, fine, you know, but I really feel like you're gonna miss out on a lot of rare talents. And I don't even know if I would have gotten where I am if that's how it was when I was starting, you know. I might have. I don't know. But you
But you
know.
know, I feel you. I feel you. But like, so you got an agent, and then you were on the audition scene. Now,
hmm
what was the first Broadway gig, and how did that happen?
Okay, so the mostly everything it all goes on word of mouth a lot of times. And I feel like because I had booked a national tour of Young Frankenstein and it went really well. I like Susan Stroman was very sweet to me. And she really, really liked me because I could tap. A lot of boys who auditioned for that track could they could do the technical stuff, but they couldn't tap. But I had tap. I've always tapped from my, you know, back in the days. And yeah, and then she chose me for this picture. And after she chose me for this picture to do it, and I did this jump in one take. This is actually a soda shot as well. When I did this, that was another thing where it was kind of like boom, people started saying, "Who is this boy?" On the tour that I see this thing, and it was another thing to where it really helped my career. So when I got back to New York, my dance captain named James Gray, a legendary dancer, choreographer now. He's also an assistant director and artistic director of shows. He was really good friends with Warren Carlisle. And I feel like as well, Susan Stroman, they were all talking and they were like, oh, do you know anybody, dancers? Can we have those dancers from your tour come in for Follies? They were doing Follies at the Kennedy Center and it was gonna go to, I don't know, actually, it hadn't even said that it was gonna come into Broadway at the time. It was just gonna be at the Kennedy Center, it was gonna be an engagement. But I will tell you that Kennedy Center gig is so fab. It's actually more money than Broadway.
Really?
And it was, yes, it's more money than Broadway. But anyways, I say that to say you always have to know your relationships and always treat everybody kind because you don't know who knows who. The scene is so small. The Broadway scene is so small. The dance scene is so small. You really have to know, and you never know who's watching you. I know that being in Young Frankenstein, I was so careful. Again, I was the only Black kid in it. So it was not isolating, but it was definitely, it taught me a lot. I've always, for a long time in my career, actually, I've always been the only Black in a show. And even in my hometown, in my dance studio, up until The Lion King, that was the first show. Isn't that crazy? That I wasn't the only Black in. But, and the funny thing about my first Broadway gig too, this is why I say I have a lot of grace and not, you know, people say, oh, I have a perfect career. That's actually anything goes. I wasn't even cast first for Follies. It was actually Joe Aaron Reed, and then Joe Aaron Reed denied it because I think he was doing some show with Jerry, I think, and so I remember I did I went on tour with Radio City Rockettes, and when I came back, they said that Joe Aaron Reed had denied because the first time I auditioned for Follies, I didn't book it. They booked Joe Aaron Reed. They said that Joe Aaron Reed had booked something else, and they called me in again. And then after that, I went in, and I remember Warren Carlisle looking at me, and he's like, he made us go one at a time, and he was like, I want to see you do this like you're the only one on stage. And when I did it, I just had a great day. Again, I just nailed it, and I booked it. I sang beautifully that day. Oh my God, I was so happy. And I got it, Michael Kushner. And I was so happy to be going to DC. It was my first, I had wanted that. That was like my dream come true, to dance on Broadway, to sing on Broadway. It was the best thing that had ever happened to me. Everything that it really solidified everything I had worked up to, leaving Hubbard and coming to New York and getting an agent. It was just so magical. It was a magical time. That time at the Kennedy Center, I remember DC was so beautiful and it was cherry blossoms. And then we didn't even know if it was going to come in. You know, the reviews were good, but they were lukewarm. But the thing about Follies is it was such a slick production with some of the best in the biz. I mean, for me, Follies really, you know, the boys didn't do much in Follies, but I always say that I'm so blessed because I got to be in a room with some of the greats, Bernadette Peters and, I mean, just legends in the biz. It was so amazing. It was so amazing just to be a fly on the wall. I was like, child, I don't care. And then when they announced it was going to Broadway, I was like, well, I'm going to Broadway now, you know? So it was an amazing time. It really was. It was an amazing time.
That's beautiful. And then how was the transition going into Lion King?
Well, I did Anything Goes after Follies.
Okay.
So then after that, Follies was just it was a 6 month engagement at the Marriott Marquis, and it actually did get extended, I think, for about a month. And again, because it was such a slick production, it was so beautiful and you know, so just the costumes and everything. I feel like it got a buzz. And you know, when you're starting to get a buzz, and when you're in those circles, people will want to work with you. Like it's inevitable. Anytime it's something new and it's buzzing, people are gonna be like, "Oh, who is that? Get him." You know what I'm saying? So, um, again, the Follies company was gonna go to LA after our engagement ended. I was planning on going to LA, and I heard that they were having an audition for Anything Goes, and I didn't get called in for it. I was so hurt because all of my other friends and Follies got called in. And then out of nowhere, I remember I was at my house, like crying, like, what am I gonna do? I want to stay in New York. And out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, I got an email from my agent saying that Kathleen Marshall was a huge fan of yours and she wants to work with you and wants to know would you be interested in doing Anything Goes. And literally, I don't even think I auditioned. I think I like maybe I sang for them, but I don't, and I maybe partnered. Again, I've always had a lot of grace around my life. I don't know, it's just this thing. And I think, again, that's why I say everywhere you are, do your best. Do the best you can in the room, you know, have good energy because people will notice that. And everyone notices. It's such a small little network, you know? So, and then I got Anything Goes, and I was so happy and that I didn't have to go to LA with the cast of Follies, and I got to do Anything Goes because Anything Goes was such a beautiful performance. And again, I was a replacement. Anthony Wayne was the original in Anything Goes, and he had booked Priscilla, and they called me, and it was so amazing when I got to do it because it was the first time that I was on stage speaking. I was so nervous. I had lines. I was so scared. I had never spoken on any stage in a play, let alone a Broadway stage. Your first time speaking on stage is a Broadway play. I was like so scared, but it was so great. I feel like the first line was, "Hey, Hope Harcourt," and I still kept Hope Harcourt, and I kept saying Hope Harcourt, and so I was so nervous. They had to practice me and practice me and practice me my lines, but you know, again,
So
I
Larry,
just really
I'm
fit
sorry,
in.
sorry to interrupt you, but we have 35 seconds left on this live. But
Okay.
But let's come right back. So everybody who's here, this live will stop, and we're gonna come right back because we want to continue with Lawrence, and we have a lot more to talk about and get into. And want to take some questions from everyone that's watching. If any young artists out there that have any questions for one of the greats, you know, be sure to drop a question for us. But so we're gonna start this live, coming back in 7 seconds. How are you able to manage in spaces where you're the only person of color? And then particularly on Broadway, because you're a minority in Broadway in general, right? So how are you able to deal with that before you went to Lion King, predominantly, people of color? So you were in one company like Follies, Anything Goes, and then to go into Lion King. What was that like, and how did you? And this is for a lot of other artists that are new to this game, and when they go to these spaces where they feel like they're kind of isolated and the only one. What were some things you did to kind of make sure you always stayed and found yourself and stayed confident and knew who you were in these kind of situations?
You know, I have always been the only Black boy. Up until that point, up until joining Lion King, I had always been one of the only Black boys. So I felt like I already sort of knew how to sort of maneuver myself in that space. But I feel like still, like, it's not something that you can get used to. Not that you can't get used to it. You just have to really look at everyone as a human and realize that we all are human, and we all want to work, and we all want to, be respected in that space. I feel like since I've been now in both situations, that I'm able to sort of look at it and say, there are pros and cons to every situation you're going to be in. It really is just going to have to be a inner sort of confidence that you hold, and knowing who you are, and knowing what you bring, to a room. But it definitely is something that you have to sort of have to just bring your own confidence and know that it's about the work, bring your joy. You know, there are times where you probably won't, not that you won't get something, but I have experienced things where I knew that I should have gotten something, but I didn't get it because I was Black, you know what I'm saying? Or I should have, but then there are also things too where I've gotten featured. There have been people who have featured me, and feature my talents in certain ways too. So it's all about give and take. You know, there are pros and cons to everything. And in any room that you join, you just have to know that you are worthy enough to be in that room. If they wanted you to be in it and you were asked to be in it and you booked it and you are in that room, know that you bring everything. And I always think of myself as bringing all of my energies and all my past experiences into the room, all that knowledge. With every new experience, you have that confidence. The good thing about me is that I already had Hubbard Street, so it gave me a lot of confidence. People saw that and they were like, oh, you know, this, it gave me that already. Even coming to New York, that background gave me a lot of confidence,
Nice.
for being in the show, you know. And I think now that I'm in Lion King, it was such a not a new experience, but it was such a refreshing experience to not be the only Black. But then again, I still feel like, you know, not that there's pros and cons. It's just, it's gonna be like that with anybody that you work with. And if you want to go far in this business, you're gonna have to learn how to work with a lot of different people, depending on how far you want your reach to go. I hear some people say, oh, I only want to work with this, or I only want to do Black dance. Okay, well then you're limiting yourself, and you will only be in this very little box, and that's fine. Some people, that's their calling, that's their purpose. I don't have a problem with that. But when you talk about somebody with a world-class appeal, or with somebody who's done a lot, you know, and people are gonna be attracted to that, you have to realize that you're gonna have to work with everybody and just bring your own energy into it. Bring it 100%. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't always been easy because I'm Lawrence Alexander. I am who I am on certain parts, you know, and I want to be authentic as well. And, you know, there were a lot of times where I had to just be silent and keep my mouth shut. And then there were a lot of times where I could be myself. But for the most part, I've been very lucky to work with some amazing people who were very respectful and very, very, you know, very, very respectful in that regard. Me being tall too, that's another thing. Like, that's always a thing. I remember someone said to me one time, Lawrence Del Movie, the biggest thing on stage. And I was like, it was strange to me that somebody would say that, but it definitely took me back. I was like, did he just say that to me? So, you know, but again, it's all about just learning to work with, and whatever you want, you're gonna have to sacrifice some stuff and learn that you have to work with everybody and get in that field, you know. So I don't know, it's one of the things.
Let's get into Lion King, because that is a very, very big show. It's a theatrical show. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things you have to rehearse and get done. So I'm going to show this real quick. I just pulled a clip from YouTube. Just to Michael. Sense of what it's like, and all of these, you know, learning how to walk on stilts, learning how to use props. It seems like a very, very amazing experience to be a part of a show like this.
So what's a lifetime experience?
You know, you have all these props, and like, was this your first time working with prop work? Like,
definitely, yeah, it is. You know, the funny thing about my Lion King experience is that when anything goes closed, very, very shortly after it closed, I got a call again from the director, Mark Brandon, and he was telling me that there's a track that's going to be open for me that they really want to see me for, because it's very specific to who I am. And you know, me being long and big and flowery, the Birdman track is so, I feel like that's another reason why I've stayed with Lion King for so long. That, and it's like a secure job. At that point, the prior shows that I had, they had closed, you know, and we know this business. It's not like some shows don't stay open that long, they just don't. But Lion King was different in the sense, for one thing, the Lion King, remember Gloria Van Patten? She was like, she's one of my mentors. She's one of Yasuko's best friends. She said to me when I first moved to New York, before I got booked anything, she was like, she said, you need to go audition for Lion King. You're going to be in Lion King. She was like, you're perfect for a track in Lion King. And I thought, okay, yeah, I would love to. And I remember I auditioned for Lion King maybe a handful of times, maybe like 4 or 5 times. And I always made it to the end. The director, the rehearsal director, Marae, shout out to Marae, she was very sweet to me in all those auditions. But I never booked the track because, you know, once people get in Lion King, they don't want to leave Lion King.
Right.
So, but that whole time, it let me solidify myself into the Broadway scene. I did Follies, I did Anything Goes, you know, all this stuff. So when Mark called me and said that he wanted me to come in, I was like, okay, great, this is my time. And I did it. Doing puppets and all that stuff, it is hard on the body. You know, the Lion King is a still stage. That's very hard to do 8 shows a week. I have a puppet. I remember in rehearsal, they rehearsed me for Lion King for about a month. And I was like, this is fabulous in the rehearsal studio. And then when I got to the theater and I put on that 20-pound puppet, I was like, woo! She ain't so easy. She ain't so easy no more, child. But, you know, the blessing about Lion King is, again, it's a part that is so specific to me in a place that I just feel like God had it in mind that I was going to do it. And even Julie said to me, and our rehearsal director, Ruth Lynn, said to me, you're like the ideal Birdman. She's like, you're the perfect Birdman. So it's really been a great gift for me. I get to be myself in an ensemble show, but I'm a featured ensemble. So it really, really just suits Lawrence Alexander. I don't know. It really does. And I've been in the show now for about 8 years. It's like almost a decade. You know, that's crazy to think. And everyone always asks me, don't you get tired of doing it? And don't you get tired? And you know, I can honestly say, you know, I don't get tired because there's something different every time. There's something new that you can discover about a performance. I've learned how to perfect my performance to a place where now I can do that show. Like, I can just do that show. You know, we just had our 20th anniversary, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they changed 2 big numbers. And that sort of freshens it up for me a little bit. But it's been a great blessing in my life. I've gotten the chance to be stable. It was the first time in my life where I've actually been able to have an apartment and sit down and not worry. That was also something that was important to me because I never felt that. And I never thought that I was going to be happening for me as a performing artist. So it's given me a lot. You know, I've gotten to save and perform, and it's really, really, really great on that end, you know.
That's amazing. Now, you said something that was pretty important there, is that you auditioned a handful of times. So this wasn't just like you auditioned once and you got the job. You auditioned multiple times, right?
I auditioned multiple times. I auditioned at least, 3 times before I did everything else. And then afterward, maybe I auditioned 4 times before I did everything else. And I know Lion King, because like I said, once you get in Lion King, they won't, like, nobody's going to leave that job, you know? So, but it is a hard show. It's not an easy show by any means, you know? People say they want to get into musical theater because they want to do less, you know? Lion King is a different show. It's a different beast. It will definitely take you down if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not taking class, if you're not, you know, getting your spirit together. Because it's so many things, the puppets, and then just everything. The stage is raped, you know, so it's on an angle. And I've actually had, I had a meniscus repair, which didn't actually originate from that, but over time it deteriorated in that regard. So
what's hard about a rape stage is that if you're like this and you jump, it's a further distance to come down. You jump up, it's a shorter distance to come down. So you have to be very aware of how the stage is and how you work on that stage, because it's limiting in a sense.
And then put a 20-pound puppet on your back and then dance on a race stage. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it definitely has been a great testament to my life. You know, I feel like I've spent like some of my best years as an artist and dancer at Lion King. I do. I've given that, like, definitely some of my best years as a dancer at Lion King. But it's also been a great ride. It has. They're very, very, very loving to me, very sweet. It's great.
Can you speak on having to audition for something multiple times and not getting discouraged to audition again? Because a lot of people it seems like, you know, you audition for something, you think you killed it, you think you did a great job, and then you get cut. How do you find the courage to say, all right, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again until I get this job?
I think it's just something that you have to want, you know. There's a guy who was in the show for a couple years. He just recently left. He auditioned, I think, 8 times for Lion King. 8 times, and he got cut. And then the 9th time he got it. And I heard they chose him because of that. Isn't that interesting? I heard that, not chose him because of that, but I definitely know that they love to see that you're still interested in, anybody loves to see that you're invested in their company. You know, if you want something that bad, you go for it. If you want to be a Rockette, have your butt in the audition every year. If you want to be anything, if you want to be at Ailey, go to the Ailey School, be in the classes, go up that way. If you want to be a Ramon dancer, go to that school. You have to sort of lean where you want to go and know that you have to put an investment in that sometimes. And then sometimes you book something right away. You don't have to, you know. I feel like Lion King is the first place that I've actually stayed at and actually like put the time in. You know what I'm saying? So
it seems like that your time on Broadway, you were able to really hone in on your singing skills and kind of make this segue into a newer part of your career, which is you being an artist and you being on your own and signing to a label. And now it's you, Lawrence Poster Boy, as the feature. I got you. As the feature, no longer an ensemble, but you are the star.
You know that was another part of the plan for me as well. I was like, and you have to make sure that you always have to keep your eye on what you really want. I've always been able to say, okay, I know I want to do this, so I'm going to have to do that. So I know I'm going to have to do that. It's always in steps and steps and steps. And I felt like Lion King definitely gave me that ability to sort of grow and perfect my voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I'm the best singer. But, you know, I definitely still it's something that I'm working on, but I have my own distinct sound. It's me. If you hear Lawrence Alexander, you're like, oh, that's Lawrence Alexander. And it was definitely a moment where I was like, okay, if I'm going to stay here in Lion King, then I'm going to invest in myself and get some really good vocal lessons, which I did. And out of that, you know, I didn't even really think about being an artist at that time. At the time, I was just trying to get vocal lessons. I was trying to perfect my voice. And my vocal coach, Marlon Sanders, shout out to Marlon Sanders, so amazing man. He was one of my mentors as well. His studio really helped me. And he was the one who introduced me to my friend, Iqram, who is the founder of ENSE music label, and as well as the founder of Venmo. And from there, when I met Iqram, it wasn't even about on a singing tip. It was about, can I help him choreograph a music video for his band? And we just started chopping it up. Our energy started to connect. And the next thing you know, he goes online and he hears some of my tracks that I released earlier, like Kazuma Baby and Looking Around. And he's like, I love that you're a recording artist too. And the next thing you know, we started making and improvising and jamming in his studio at ENSE headquarters. And we made an EP called 3 Is a Gonna Ratio. And that's how I became a recording artist. So it really I never set out to say, oh, now that I'm gonna do it. I knew that I wanted to do music in some way, but I didn't really not to say I didn't believe in myself. I just didn't think that I would. I was like, oh, child, I'm a Broadway performer, that's fine. And then all of a sudden I meet Iqram. You know, Iqram goes to Marlon, he goes, who's the best dancer you know out there? And Marlon goes, and Iqram told me this, he was like, without a doubt, he was like Lawrence Alexander. And next thing you know, I come in and meet him. But it was totally on just the whole tip of like, I was gonna stage their music video. I had done a music video online, if those of you guys go look at it, called Looking Around. And I staged it, I did it like guerrilla style. It was in the subway. Like we almost got arrested twice.
Speaking of that, let's watch a little clip real quick.
Yes, Looking Around. It's on YouTube, and it's also available on Spotify and Instagram. It's a fun little ditty. And shout out to Demarius for doing it. He's a phenomenal Broadway performer who's in Hamilton tour now. He was in Mean Girls. It's cute. It's a cute little thing. It's fun.
I love it.
Yeah, you have to, and this is another thing I have to tell people, that you have to, if you know that you want to do something, don't wait for nobody to do it. Again, sort of like the agent thing. Do it. Like, so many people are scared, you know, and there will be people who are going to be like, who does this guy think he is? I've always had that. I've always had people on the other side like, oh, you want to do Broadway? Oh, you want to do, and you got to block that out and just, you know, if it's in you, if it's calling you, try it. Don't be scared and don't sell yourself short. Again, know what's in you, know your history, know what you've always done, and do it. Never sell yourself short. There's so much in all of us that we don't even know, that we don't even discover because we're like, oh, people aren't going to take me serious. Who cares what people think? Nobody thought I was going to be on Broadway when I was at Hubbard. Nobody thought I was going to be, you know, singing and making this stuff. It's just, you have to know yourself and know that you will always have haters. The higher you go, they never go away. There'll always be people to say, you can't do it. You got to block that out. And the fact that you have those haters is an indication that you're blessed. That's an indication that you're on the right, because if you ain't blessed, you ain't got no haters. If you're just sitting there, if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna be talking about you. Ain't nobody talking about you, child. Ain't nobody gonna be checking. You gotta know who you are and put it out there. You know, you have to decide. Do I want to play at 70% my whole life and be liked and be, you know, be like, or do I want to go 110 and share and inspire? And that's what I've been just trying to do. I'm not expecting to, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm not expecting, but I'm excited to share and to put myself out there. I always expect the best. I do, because I'm very hard on myself, but you know, just keep dreaming. Don't ever stop dreaming.
These are thank you to everything you just said. These are great pieces of advice and gems that you're dropping to everyone right now.
Keep running. Hey, Angelica, the kids.
By saying all
Ryan
that,
Mullis, look at the girls here. Ryan Mullis is legend. He's legendary. Ryan Mullis, he was my Young Frankenstein monster for a while. Oh, people hearing that so sweet.
So Lawrence, what is like one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, knowing all of this amazing amount of knowledge and all this experience you have? If you could sit back and just look at your younger self, or even these younger artists out here, and tell them a couple of pieces of advice, what would you tell them?
One thing that I kind of already said was that you need to figure out what your purpose is right away. And you also need to figure out right away what direction you want to go in. Because there's so many things now that you can do. You can go to LA and be a commercial kid. You could go, you know, the whole concert dance route and do that. But as soon as you find that out, make sure that you lead towards that and go in those directions. Don't wait. And also, too, get knowledge behind what you want to do. Just don't say, I want to be a dancer. I remember when I was younger, I didn't know much about European dance, but I was such a big fan. But you make sure that you see it. Make sure that you go and see these things and put yourself around that. If you want to be on Broadway, make sure you see a Broadway show. Make sure you're at Broadway Dance Center. Make sure that you're around those communities so that you can attach yourself to them. I would also say, again, don't sell yourself short. You know, if there's something you want to do, if you know you want to be on Broadway, don't wait till somebody says go take a vocal lesson. Get them vocal classes. If you know you want to tap, learn how to tap. You just gotta be mindful of that. And especially when you're young, you have a chance to do it already. Some people wait. You know, I was lucky because of my beginnings. I had a lot of that beginning, so a lot of that rubbed off on me. But it definitely. I would tell myself not to be as scared, because I was scared a lot, not sharing and not telling people, oh, I can sing. You know, I was scared a lot of what people would think, and it took me a long time to not be. And I still have my fears, but I would also say, if you are scared, do it scared. Do it scared. You know what I'm saying? Don't, because the fear will never leave you. Use the fear as fuel.
Boom.
See, the fear won't ever leave you. You have to use that fear as fuel, and that's what's going to get you to where you go. It's a mix. The fear ain't never going to leave. You scared to go out there and be in front. I would have still been back there in Kansas City if I was waiting until I wasn't scared. So you have to use the fear. Fear isn't not your enemy. Fear is your friend. It's your fuel. And everything you want, every big thing you want is on the other side of fear. If you're just playing it safe, you're not gonna get it. You got to do something different. You got to do something past the fear. People are want something different. They're doing the same little bitty things. You got to be bodacious and take the space. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Yo, we got Victor Weishart in the house.
Victor Weishart.
Victor
That
Weishart in
name.
the house. What's up, Victor Weishart?
Boko!
What's
I love
up?
that kid. Here's that Broadway star.
Big time. That's European Broadway.
That's European Broadway. I know.
First world tours. I see you, Victor. That's my boy Vic, man. Shout out to Vic.
Shout out to Vic. I miss y'all boys. We were a class. We were that time. I mean, I'm sure the kids at Boko are fine now, honey, but we were a class.
We had a good time in school. So Larry, we're gonna do a little rapid question round, real quick, right? Okay, so this is like just fill in the blank.
Get your questions.
And I got you, moms. I got you. We're gonna get them.
Mom is talking about sing. What you want me to sing?
We got you, moms. We got you. All right. If I could have any superpower, it would be.
If I could have any superpower, it would be a connector of people.
Okay.
I want to be that energy that just naturally connects everyone. And that's hard. Like, I don't want it. When I come into a room, I can just level the energy out. Everyone's just loving. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. If I could perform with anyone dead or alive, it would be.
If I could perform with anyone dead or alive, it would be. Oof. Maybe Bilbo Jangles. I would love to do a tap number with him. I would love to do something with Ella Fitzgerald. Could I just sit and sing with her and write something? Could you imagine? And also to Josephine Baker. I would love to do a number with Josephine Baker. Could you imagine? Oh, we were guys.
Okay. In my dance bag, I always have
a TheraBand. If I have a TheraBand in my dance bag, I'm always fab. The feet are warm. I can jump. I can get grounded. Always have my TheraBand.
If I wasn't a dancer, I'd be.
If I wasn't a dancer, I'd probably be someone who would go around traveling the world and discovering new undiscovered worlds, or someone, I forget what they call it, like discovering animals, something like that. I love nature. I love animals. So I would definitely be in that sort of like spiritual world of like nature and like discovering new animals and places.
The first thing I do when I get to the dance is?
The first thing I do when I get to the dance studio is, what do I do when I first get to the dance studio? Oh, look at my playlist and see what I'm gonna listen to.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean like a dance class or just like me like warming myself up?
Yeah, dance studio. When I warm up, I listen to.
When I warm up, I listen to a lot of.
Victor said,
wash my hands. Right? Okay. Nowadays. When I warm up, I don't know what I listen to some jazz a lot. I do. Coltrane. I love listening to Coltrane when I warm up. I love listening to my friend's band, Iqram and the Immigrants Grooves band. He has a really great brand. I love Lizzo. Nice. She's my girl. Yeah, all types of stuff.
Got it. Okay, now everyone, we're gonna open it up to a Q&A. So if you see on your screens, there's two little rectangular boxes, one with a question mark. Hit that, type us a question, or just type some questions in the comments, and we're gonna take your questions to Lawrence. But first, Lawrence, Mom says sing a little bit, so that's her question / telling you to sing.
Natural is oil, my angel. Memories burn through the candle. I love you. I do.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
my new single called Truest One. I made it for her. It's out on
Oh, nice.
Spotify. Yeah, it's called Truest One. It's a dedication to my mom for always being in my corner no matter what. We've been through so much together. That woman, I get my confidence from her. I get everything from her. So I love her very much. So that's for mama.
Wait, so plug that one more time. What's your name on
The song is
name on
called,
Spotify? And what's
the name
how
on
can
Spotify is Lawrence Alexander. You can look me up. The single is called Truest One. It's really about everyone has that one truest one in their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be your mom. Some people's is their mentor, it's their father, it's their lover. That person you know will always be there. You can pick up the phone. You can be in Amsterdam. Mom, I need you to, okay, I'm there. That's my mom. She's always been that. So instead of calling it my truest love, I call it my truest one.
Nice.
And it's on, yes.
Let's see the first question. What's the Lion King audition like, and how should you prepare for it? Great question. Thank you, Michael.
Michael, I get this question all the time. People are always calling me, asking me, I'm going in for the audition. What do I need? You have to realize that first combination is going to set the tone for everything. Come in a unitard, one of your snatchless unitards you have, and you have to really twirl. Everyone knows, I mean, not everyone knows, but that first horn combination, she wants to see if you have control, if you have balance. And sometimes, people say, I've heard so many things. People say, oh, well, he's in Lion King, I can twirl better than him. Sometimes it's about a look. Sometimes it's about a type. It's about what they need. So again, in Broadway, it's not always about if you're the best. I've gone in for tons of stuff and twirled, and I'm just not the right type. Okay, yeah. Next thing, you know what I'm saying? You have to go in and just sell yourself the best you can and bring all your technique with you. That's what Marae wants. She loves cleanliness and she loves technique. Not too much extra stuff. She wants to see how clean you can be and how grounded you can be. And it's not always about getting your leg up. I see so many kids doing tilts and everything else. You get them in the studio and they can't do a transition to save their soul. Get into the ground. Get into your, get your strength up and learn how to move. That's really what it's about. But again, all these things is just my experience. I don't know, like it's always, sometimes I'm shocked too. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I have friends who are amazing dancers. They're like, I went to the audition. I'm like, you didn't get it? I don't know. Sometimes it's about a type. It is. That's the world. So I just say bring your best and be ready to move and dance. Because those first three combinations are hard. Mm-hmm. But
so when you speak of type, so different Broadway shows have different types that fit the character that they're looking for. So sometimes you necessarily might not be the right.
You might not be the right type. Lion King men are built. She likes body. She likes face. It's so superficial, but they love face. Y'all know the Lion King men. They all got body. They all got face. What they need, the puzzle. Exactly. Right. It's basically what they need to fill that track. Is this person the right height? Sometimes it's not even personal. It's like, are you going to be the right height for that person? Are you going to be the right, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not about that. So I know that and this happens to me too. It happens to everybody. I go on for stuff and I'm like, I really want to do this and I'm just not the right type. You know what I'm saying? I would rather somebody not even call me in. Luckily now I've been in business for a long time. Not gonna say don't call me in because then they won't, but I would rather somebody not waste my time and have me do all this all day than waste my, you know what I'm saying? So everybody has a type. Lion King has one too. They love body, they love chest, they love technique, they love to be grounded. They love men looking like men dancing. Even if you're gonna be fierce, honey, you want to vogue and be fierce. When you go on stage, you gotta be, you gotta be a man too as well. So all of that is, taken under consideration.
And what was the again, everyone, if you have a question for Lawrence, please drop it in the comments or hit that little box there's two boxes with a question mark. Hit that and drop us a question. If you have any questions you want to ask Lawrence about Broadway, about being an artist, about dancing in a professional dance company, any of those type of things, please drop a question. But Larry, what is it like auditioning for like Radio City?
Ooh, that audition is intense too. You know, my experience with Radio City was very, it was eye-opening as well because again, it's another style. They like you to be very, it's again, in Radio City, you have to be spatially aware. You have to know your spacing. They're very big on spacing. But again, too, I feel like I had a track that was specific to me. I was a Sugar Plum Bear. They love tall boys for that. So you have to know, like, investigate what you want to go after. If you know that you want to be on Broadway, and you're 5'2" and you're a girl, don't go into a Susan Stroman audition because you know Susan Stroman don't hire short girls. She likes tall, leggy girls. So you really have to, do your homework and know what people want. And sometimes you're not gonna know, but you just gotta. I feel like if you want to go out for anything, go for it. I'm not gonna tell you not to because you never know. I never thought that I would get some of the stuff that I got, but just make sure that you bring your full self to it and know the room that you're walking into.
Yeah.
It would help you to know it. It would help you.
Let's see if we got any more questions. Again, everyone, just drop us a question. Here's a moment in history right now. You got one of the greats right now. You better drop these questions. You better drop these questions.
Child, they probably heard it all.
But it's been great. It's been
great. It really has.
Amazing time to seeing your growth overall from college. Oh, okay. Auditions very truly help you understand what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Zooey? Zooey's in the house. What's good?
What's up? What's up, Zooey? Yeah, definitely. Auditions do. And I feel like I would just say one more thing about auditions. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So I would say really, really, and even now, like I rarely audition. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to, but there were a couple things that I didn't audition for. But I will say that you have to get used to auditioning if you get nervous and if you get frazzled in auditions. If you are somebody who can pick up choreography quickly, that's not going to be good in an audition. They want to know that you're able to quick up. They don't want to know that you're smart because a lot of times these things go very quickly. You have to pick up things and forget things. Sometimes they can change a whole routine. Even now, I don't feel like I was as good as an auditioner as I was back then because I was so hungry. I was like, this is do or die. And you have to realize that you don't want to get comfortable. But, I haven't been auditioning a lot, so I have to build that muscle back up. So it's not like nobody's perfect. Like I have to do that too. I even realized in a couple of the last auditions I went to, I was like, you really didn't have, but for the most part, sometimes I do, but I gotta get back in the audition room as well if I wanna, if I wanna do something else and do something new. They wanna see if you can pick it up quick. They wanna see if you, can fit in right. And yeah, that's what it is. Definitely be in class. I don't care, one or two classes a day. Take class. Know those combinations. Yeah.
Take class. Okay, so Zooey says, what is your most memorable performance?
My most memorable performance? Oh my God, that is so hard. I don't even know. Let me see. You want to know what my most memorable performance was? So I have two. One was I danced with Beyonce, and that was fab. Maybe because it was such a big audience and I had never seen so many people, but I did Made in America with her. And I remember the stage was shaking. That's how intense it was. And then I got to come out of a box and like do all this snake stuff up to her head and her neck. And that probably blew my mind. I will also say probably doing Follies that whole time at the Kennedy Center. I remember praying every night to God, saying, God, just make sure that we like nail it and keep everybody's energy together. I remember praying every night. I don't even know if I still do that. I know that I say a small prayer to myself about Lion King, but I remember being very intense and just.
Okay, next question. What is next for Lawrence?
Next for me is, You know, this is one of the first times in my life where I don't even know what's next. And I'm actually happy about that. Um, because I've always known what I want to do next. I definitely want to do more music. I definitely
Mm-hmm.
want to possibly tour my show. Ideally, I would love to tour and get a chance to meet America and get the chance for them to meet my music and my routine. I would love to choreograph a whole show, have it in my head to where I want to have two dancers and like three singers and a small band and like do a set and tour that and push my music. I would love to do that. That would be amazing. Um, and I also want to maybe like settle down and have a family. I want to have
Nice.
kids. I know that's funny to say,
Nice.
but I definitely want to have kids, and
Nice.
I want to get married too. You know, so
I hear you.
we'll see what happens.
Okay, so, oh, great question from Victor. What's your advice on career longevity?
Whew, that is hard. My advice on career longevity is just don't get bitter, and also too, always stay on top of your craft. You have to always be in classes. You have to always know what's the new thing, what's next, what's the new hot thing. Um, and that's hard to do. You know, even for me, I find myself saying, oh, wow, they're doing that now. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, you want to make sure that you just be open minded, stay open minded. You never know what's going to happen, you never know what's going to fall in your lap. And again, don't be bitter, don't lose the faith, because I feel like even for me now, I have to remind myself that it's not over. This is just the beginning. It is not over. There's still so much of me that I have to share. There's still so much of me that I have that I want to do. And you know, I may be the mature girl, the mature kids now, or the established kids now, but just stay open and stay to keep your heart hungry, that same hunger. I have to remind myself of what I love to do this, and I have to bring myself back to that boy who came here 8 years ago and was like, I want to be
Mhm.
on Broadway. I have to always do that, because you will feel like it's weighing on you, especially when you're going a day in and day out and you're going through stuff and you're growing. Just stay open and don't and stay open minded and don't get bitter. Just continue to love it. Remember why you did it at the first beginning of when you first started it.
Yep. Angelica says, what do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself with a #1 hit on the Billboard charts.
Let's go.
Right. Right. I see myself with a #1 hit on the Billboard charts, and I see myself touring, and I see myself possibly being bi-coastal. Um, and I see myself just living the fabulous life. Um,
Go.
that's what I see. That's where I see myself. I see myself creating somewhere. I have this vision or this dream in my head where I'm going to be creating or being some type of director or assistant director. I would love to like stage stuff. I don't know. I'm open to all of these things, but myself doing these things, staging stuff and creating great works of art and traveling and just enjoying life and doing my music and meeting people that way.
Mm-hmm. Second question from Michael. Michael says, part 2, LOL. What is it like wearing the Birdman costume? Because, child, she's tall.
I love my Birdman costume now. You know, I something about putting that Birdman costume on that I just love. And it's not easy to dance in. It takes a lot of manipulation of the shoulders, and I'm always having to have rehearsal calls sometimes, remembering that movement with the shoulders and manipulating them. It's actually I've gotten used to it. It took me a while to become one with the bird, and even if I take a vacation, like sometimes I'll take vacations and 2 weeks of vacations. It's hard to get back in the groove of it, but I love the costume.
Beautiful. And then I think this is our last question. It says, outside of dance, what do you want to pursue? Outside of your music career, outside of dance, what else do you have in the pipeline of creativity going for you?
Outside of dance and outside of, you mean the artistic world?
Yeah, I guess we can say that.
I don't know. I don't even see myself existing outside of the artistic world. I don't know if Lawrence would exist outside of the artistic world. I feel like I see myself creating a program for kids, maybe to come and see Broadway. I would definitely know that I want to do something like that, where I'm like bringing people from KC to come and see Broadway shows, the chance to like have that experience like I did so many years ago. My mom would bring me, and my school trips would bring me. I don't know if I, I consider myself a teacher, in a sense, but I don't know if I'm the best teacher. I'm very hard on teachers. I had some great teachers, some phenomenal teachers. I think it's a great responsibility to teach dance. So, but I definitely want to share more with with the kids back home, the
Yep.
lower income kids, black kids, white kids, people who just don't get a chance to really see theater. I want to maybe share in that way. So that's where I see myself.
That's amazing. So real
Thank you
quick,
guys so much. Look at that.
I
What you say?
know.
Go ahead.
Um, let everybody know one more time, where can we find your music? Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, all of those beautiful things. Let us know one more time.
So you can follow me at La Alexander underscore on Instagram. And you can also follow me on Spotify. My name is Lawrence Alexander on Spotify. I have a nice collection of music there now, so check that out. And again, I like to make music that's feel good. I feel like today's music, I'm not putting anybody down, but there was a certain feel good joy, inspiration that we had, that music that made us feel like we could dream. I don't know, it's an intimacy that I miss sometimes with music. So I feel like that's another reason why I wanted to make music, because I wasn't hearing that sound that made me feel like, oof, that gave me that inspirational feel. And that's another reason why I started making my own music, is because I wanted to have that feeling, that and remember that feeling. So yeah.
Okay, real quick, one more question. How would you incorporate virtual world into your career? And so you think how this pandemic will change?
I feel like this is something that we are all sort of learning together. Even every day, every week, I'm learning something new about the virtual world. And I just actually started teaching a class from my home studio, Monica School of Dance. And I was talking to her about it. And she's very, nervous in her studio. She doesn't want people to come. A lot of parents don't want their kids to go into these dance schools because, kids are not going to want to touch each other. They're going to want to touch their friends and play. And it's going to be hard to stay 6 feet
Yeah.
away. I don't know what's going to happen for the theater, anything that has to do with social. It's really a time where we're all sort of just getting on our legs and figuring it out. And even I was telling Monica that it was hard for me to even teach virtually, because I feel like I'm not in the room. Dance is such a in the room art. So I'm
It's very
still learning
intimate. Yeah.
how, yeah, it's very intimate. I'm still learning how to do that as well. I wanna be able to touch them and fix them and say, no, it's like this. But I feel like I definitely have hope for the future. I know that theater will be back because it's so powerful. So don't feel like it's not. Some people are like, this is the end. This ain't the end, baby. This is something that people are hungry for. Live theater won't ever go out. Theater, communicating, singing, all that stuff. We will be back to a place where we once were, but it may take a little while. But I have
Yeah.
faith that we'll be back. We'll be back, sharing. And for now, we'll be able to just share this way. But just know that it's no more less intimate. It's still, we gotta still somehow get that connect and keep it.
Hmm.
So
It's really interesting how you say your dance teacher from back home is saying, or you had the conversation of, parents are kind of worried about letting their
they're
kids not
worried.
into a dance
Yeah.
studio, because you think about a dance studio, you lay on the floor, you sweat on each other.
And
It's like
dancers
you
are
said,
very,
it's very
dancers,
intimate.
actors, we're so intimate. We love to touch. Child, if somebody gets a cold in the theater, everybody gets it. We love to hug. I'll be like, Jack, but no, but no, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Like, we're gonna have to. This is something that we're all gonna have to do together, and be. It's gonna be hard. Like I haven't really seen many people since this whole thing started. So I'm even a little. I feel like this was the first week where I'm getting to the point where I'm like, oh, I do miss intimate touch. And I'm, you know, I'm not a loner, but I like my alone time. I'm comfortable with myself to live alone. I'm not one of those people who are like, I need to be around people. Sometimes, you know, I'm not saying that I like to be alone. I'm saying that I'm comfortable with my own self. I don't, it's a difference. That's two different things than saying that you like being alone. I don't like being alone. I'm comfortable with myself and I know how to enjoy myself alone. And I think we have to make that distinction of that as well. But I miss being connected with people, and I miss seeing my friends and my loved ones and my other friends, you know. Or friend, I mean, you know what I mean.
I think, you know, Zooey and also MJ have made, you know, great points in the comments that touch is fundamental. Human connection is key to us humans as general. So what we're dealing with right now, I think, especially right now, everyone needs to stop and we need to pat ourselves on the back and just say and give thanks, because we're all trying to navigate this the best way we can.
We are.
This is so new to all of us.
It's new to all of us. We have never been through a pandemic. Not even my grandmother would know what she. Right. It's something that we're all just kind of, especially here in New York. And I'm afraid to go home because I haven't been tested for COVID, and you know I don't want to bring anything to my family. Lord, I'm healthy. I have a very healthy immune system, but I just want to, you know, I have to be mindful. We all have to be very mindful. And it's not, even when I'm out in the store and I see somebody close to me. I just saw a fight the other day in my bodega. The guy was like, "Will you stand back?" And the guy not having a mask. And I was mad at him too. I was like, "Where's your mask?" They were fighting. I was like, child, I had to jump back because that's what it gives. So close to me. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very trying time right now.
It is.
I think we all have to practice. We have to practice patience. You know, for one another. You know.
We do, because everybody. It's not even about I hate them. It's just we're all heightened because it's something new, you know. So I think we have a little leeway on that, and just know that it's new for all of us. Come on.
Come home anytime. Yo, my mom said the same thing to me.
I'm gonna come home, Mama. Yo,
this has been such a great conversation. It's been so great seeing your face and feeling your energy again. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And then just real quick, we have some quick shout outs in the beginning. I want to let everybody know about classcentral.com. They're offering hundreds of free classes, from business classes, data analysis, graphic design, stock, finance, all of these different type of classes. So everybody, please check out classcentral.com if you have some free time, which I think we all do now, to just kind of brush up on some new skills, some new things. So Zooey, it is classcentral.com, ClassCentral.com, classcentral.com. I'll DM you, Zooey, after this. We love you too, Vic. God bless you too, brother. So happy you're safe and you're back over in the States and you're with your family. Yes, Zooey, that's it. Real quick, also on Saturday at 7:30 p.m., Malik Washington is teaching a dance class at 7:30. That's Malik Washington, MALEEK_Washington, like Denzel. Hit him up in the DMs so you can get the link, the Zoom link for that class. And on Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m., a good friend of mine, he goes by DJ Blockchain Algorithms, is spinning some tropical tunes on Saturday morning at 9:30. So that's can like dance in the morning and then dance at night. DJ Blockchain Algorithms in the morning and then Malik at night. Larry, Trice, Lawrence, my brother, my family, love you. Thank you for this.
Love you too. Thank you for having me. So good.
I like to sign off by saying I approve of myself 3 times. So if we can say I approve of myself together 3 times, that'll be our sign off.
Yes.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. I approve of myself. I approve of myself. I approve of myself. Yes, sir. Love you, brother. Thanks so much, yo.
so much.
Peace.
Bye, bro.